one of the things I've found primarily about Jamaica and the Caribbean by extension is we're very pedantic and very bureaucratic. And now, by way of a loss of bureaucracy and looking at every fine detail, how difficult is it, Franz, for many people? Like, I know there are those on this line who have family in, say, Jamaica, and a loved one has left them some land, okay? But, someone's just assumed the land, right? Now, by way of trying to unpick some of these complex issues in regards to ownership when somebody leaves a parcel, but is broken it up somewhat, a piece for you and a piece for you. How easy is it for someone from the UK to try to navigate legal issues in the Caribbean around a dispute or a dispute surrounding paperwork and who owns what?
Okay, so, and thank you for that. On a very broad scale, and I'm dealing with the court part of it and just the logistics of it. Mm-hmm. We have modernized our systems over and because of the pandemic, we've kind of been forced to ensure that everyone has access to the courts. Just like we're on Zoom, we're able to conduct hearings on Zoom. So you're able to participate in the process. Documents can be sent over. So that is the one part of it, to participate in the process. What you'll find with respect to the real estate part of it now, quite often, land has been in a family for generations. And there is, the system didn't necessarily promote the registration of land. And this is where it becomes a little tricky. So you have someone who passes away, they have this land and they've had it for a while. They have 5 acres or sometimes, an acre, and they want to leave it to their relatives. The key is first is to ensure that we can identify the land. And so the registration part of it is important. So they may have a tax receipt that can be used to identify the land. It would be important to have, we're going to have to go through the process of getting it registered. So we'll have to engage a surveyor who will come and mark the boundary, we'll peg it and try to create, we'll have the surveyor's ID report. And from there, we can make an application to the National Land Agency to have them issue a title. There is the government in an attempt to try to make this process more streamlined. So you can use a lawyer. The government has a system or an agency called LAMP, L-A-M-P, and they also provide that service in trying to get people's land registered. So that is going to be the first thing. So if you can get it registered, that is important. What I find a lot of the time is that and sometimes people come to me many years after, well, my grandfather passed away in 1995. And so so much time has passed, you have to now evaluate how you're going to process this transfer. The 2 different ways would be to, one, go through probate. So if there's a will, you can actually put it into the courts and administer the estate in the way that it was intended. And so the grandfather said, I want, grandson to have this, granddaughter, and so forth. And the courts can do that. Becomes more complicated because of the time. If it's within a year, you will avoid penalties. What has another option that we use at times is, and I am not necessarily fond of it, but the law permits for it, but is taking the land by adverse possession. So you can actually, we still have that provision within our laws. It is a process where you can, they call it, well, squatters' rights. So someone who has been on the land for in excess of 12 years by law can make an application to take title. Now, it is, from my point of view, counterintuitive, because on the one hand you have a law that prohibits theft or trespassing, and then on the other hand you have the law that permits adverse possession. It is a topic that is in Parliament now, and there's discussions about it. It may be, it may be that they modify the way that is done because it has created problems in the past, just disputes over it. But they're working on a better way of transferring land to people when there is not an easier way. So those are really the two ways of doing it. If you're going to now subdivide, let's say that you have this title now, and you want to now share it among the group of you. You're going to have to make an application to the parish council or the municipal corporation, which is the entity that manages each parish, as well NEPA, which is the Environmental Protection Agency. There's a process to ensure that you get approvals from each. The issue is that if the land is the parcel is too small and you're trying to subdivide it in too many portions, they may have concerns about its use, and so they're saying, well, you can't have 5 different homes on this parcel because it may not be safe and environmentally safe. So it is a process that we just have to kind of take as it's presented, and they will all differ.